Okay, stop. I already know what you're thinking. And if you're not thinking that, then this is going to be a bit weird for you. But before you tell me that Thunderfang wasn't an Arc Dragon, he was, and apparently he was the highest form of Arc Dragon before going evil. And don't worry if you didn't know that, because you'd only know that if you went down a rabbit hole on the Ninjago wiki, clicked on a citation link, which takes you to a tweet of a guy who's asked a bunch of questions, which takes you to Doc Wyatt, one of Ninjago's lead writers, who told us this. But what matters more is that I can use Thunderfang in my Arc Dragon ranking, and no one can tell me I can't. Anyways, to find out which Arc Dragon was the best, we're going to have a series of categories. If the dragon gets first place in that category, it gets 3 points, second gets 2, and last place gets 1. Our first category is heads. The focus dragon with 2 heads ironically has my least favorite heads. I really do love the 2-headed look splitting into purple and tan, little lanterns hanging, seats for 2 ninja making for a really cool perch up top, and the neck raked a little back for the classic regal dragon pose that LEGO goes for with these. However, little problems like this piece getting easily knocked out when you articulate the neck joint, and mainly the entire tan side of the dragon having a fully gold head keeps it from perfection. The purple side has a purple neck, so it has a purple and gold head, so the tan side should have a tan and gold head. Gold is close enough to tan, so it doesn't look too bad, especially in real life with natural lighting. The box art makes it look a lot worse since they turn up the saturation of colors like crazy on those. Second, there's Thunderfang. There's nothing crazy special here, but it didn't need to be special. It perfectly translates the character, and the neck brace is a touch that adds a lot of personality by referencing his millennia-long imprisonment. Number 1 has to go to the Dragon of Life, and this one blows the rest away by a long shot. First of all, it's the smallest head here. The reason that's important is because the idea with head sizes on baby humans and animals is that their heads are huge in comparison to their body. As they grow up, the heads look smaller in ratio to the body, making them look fully mature. Now, Ninjago dragon heads are usually on the larger side, which still works and can be pulled off to make for a grand look, but I can't deny these smaller heads we've seen on the Guardian Dragon and the Dragon of Life make for a very matured feel. The fact that they got a fully opening jaw with a tongue in there makes it feel so premium. Also, those grand antlers are the coolest horns I've ever seen on a dragon, which makes sense because they're based on some of the coolest horns you'll ever see in the real world, which perfectly lines up with the forest theme. The second category is body and tails. Again, focus is at the bottom here. I do like the stance and the purple and tan splitting apart, however the tail is not doing it. A really cool dual injection molded piece there at the end, but it's too short to make the tail whipping function they attempted any fun. And that failed attempt at a tail whip feature also takes away the ability to have a better looking articulable tail. Moving on to Thunderfang, he's got some interesting angles so he can stand upright. He's got that same cool storm blade part at the end of his tail, like Focus. However, the tail is much more in proportion to the body and is miles more fun to articulate, whip around, and look at. And as for the Life Dragon, the intricate color blocking makes it look like it's made up of all the bits that come with the forest, like soil, moss, leaves, branches, stone, etc. It's designed delicately to ensure that it's an aesthetically pleasing messy forest texture and not an actual mess that's displeasing to look at. The tail continues a nice long path with a giant tree branch and fluff of this new leaf canopy mold they introduced for this wave at the end. This tail can articulate however you please, but it actually has a tail whipping function too, so you're getting the best of both worlds here. I thought about it a lot, and it's going to have to be a tie between Thunderfang and the Dragon of Life, giving 2 points to both. Category 3, legs. The forested legs and stone rare haunches are cool, but they mostly copy the build for the Focus Dragon, and so Focus does get some leverage for doing it first. However, the main reason it pulls ahead is because of those vinyl elements on its legs. I absolutely love that. It is important to note, however, that the back legs are stuck in place because they're attached via angled Technic axle connectors and not a ratchet joint like the Forest Dragon. So for some of you guys, that added articulation is awesome. But regardless of whose legs are second best, Thunderfang easily takes first here. His front 2 legs are arms with awesome tan spikes coming out, and the range of articulation here is more than you'll ever need, while also making sure it's not too much to the point where it'll overextend and snap this chain connected to the neck brace. Both the arms and legs here also brilliantly achieve the eerie look of a creature who's obviously supposed to walk on all fours, but has warped to transition into a bipedal look because he's eaten so many Oni and started to take on their traits. The arms, while functioning as arms, still definitely look like they used to be legs at some point, which from a design standpoint is awesome to see conveyed in set form. Category 4 is feet. I promise, I actually do like the Arc Dragon Focus, but yet again, it's in last place. The feet are good, but it's not good enough to beat second place, which is the Dragon of Life, which puts its front feet at a 45-degree angle. Then the back two are interestingly very similar to the Arc Dragon's feet, so it's about equal in terms of aesthetics there. The Life Dragon does switch up the materials to look more rocky, which adds to the atmosphere of the dragon quite a bit. First has to go to Thunderfang again. His front 2 feet are hands with these menacing claws to slash enemies with, plus chains attached to his wrist, which again adds so much more personality and menace to the idea of this dragon just recently having ripped out of his chains to ravage the world. Additionally, since Thunderfang is one of the first Ninjago dragons to be bipedal, it results in his actual feet tasked with the unique job of making the model easy to stand up and stay there no matter how you move the arms or legs. It does that splendidly while again giving off that unnatural look, telling us that this guy isn't really meant to walk on 2 legs. The toes can also be flipped up if you want him to crawl or talk to the Forbidden 5, giving an otherwise locked in place foot as much variation as possible. My favorite category today is wings. I still remember the first day I built Thunderfang and I put the wings on, and I was just sitting there in awe at how amazing the wings looked with light passing through. The box art doesn't do it justice at all because they depict all the colors as solid when in reality most of it has a slight transparency to it, which adds so much. The graphic designer pulled off the daunting task of capturing the look of a raging storm constantly moving in the show into a static vinyl piece. And it also looks equally as good from the bottom since the Technic frame color matches pretty well with the reds and blacks of the rest of the build, plus adds a bit to the existing chaos of the storm. Dragon of Life takes second because the wings are actually a much thicker laminated vinyl, making it feel of higher quality. Plus the graphic design really ties the whole model together and makes it feel as if the wings are almost 2 large forests with a dragon hiding in the middle. If I put this in a temperate forest, it would easily camouflage. Last place goes to the Focus Dragon's wings that look pretty with the blue energy coming off, but just a hair small for my taste. Category 6, wing features. If we're talking features with the wings, the winning order reverses completely. Thunderfang is by far the least interesting with a triple shot stud shooter. To be fair, those do feel chaotic enough when shooting to replicate the idea of lightning zapping out of his wings. The Dragon of Life has these claws you can turn to expand the wings. I think the idea here is that it comes out of camouflage or it splays its wings out to look intimidating, but it honestly just doesn't make too much sense to me. And while the dragon has a very unique and cool pose with its wings tucked in, it really doesn't have a decent looking standard position because the second you splay the wings out, they're way too far back. I think I would much rather not have the play function here so you can move the wings around like Thunderfang. This play feature, to me at least, feels like it's limiting play more than anything. And winning its very first category is the Arc Dragon. You push the saddle area to flap the wings back and forth to make it fly. At first this didn't make too much sense to me because no one flies like that, but if you pay attention to the wings, they have a slight rake forward, so the idea here is that the wings are pushing the dragon forward when in flight, which makes enough sense to have fun. The play feature does compromise on wing articulation, but unlike the Life Dragon, this feature successfully enhances play more than enough to be worth the slight aesthetic trade-off. Category 7, additional functions. All 3 of these sets have a fun array of side builds and features. Thunderfang's chain can be hooked onto a shrine, which can be unlocked with 2 prismatic blades, which is awesome to recreate a terrifying scene from the show. And you can take the Bone Dragon from Lloyd's jet mech to make a super powered spectral Thunderfang. The Life Dragon has a side build with a spinning bush that's actually really fun to spin because it gains a lot more speed than you would expect. And from a play perspective, it definitely kickstarts your imagination to maybe imagine that this is like an energy blast coming from the Arc Dragon's mouth, or maybe a force field that's protecting an important artifact. Plus you get a really cool elemental earth monster. The Focus Dragon can combine the energy coming out of its 2 heads into a focus beam, which you can actually shoot out of its chest. It's absolutely stellar that we can recreate its signature finishing move from Dragon's Rising. The side build also allows Drix to launch into a shatter spin attack, which is a cherry on top. In terms of how much I've enjoyed all these features, I put the Dragon of Life at the bottom, Thunderfang in second, and the Arc Dragon continues its underdog winning streak. Category 8, figures. With all 3 dragons you get a total of 30 figures. My favorite selection has to go to the Dragon of Life. You get these exclusive awesome looking dragon forms for Lloyd and Cole, Zane's season 4 outfit, 2 very intricately molded elemental villains, Loyalist leader, and Aaron's new outfit to top it all off. Now between Thunderfang and the Arc Dragon, it was a bit hard to pick who gets second since Thunderfang is significantly cheaper, so it was important to consider that. However, the Arc Dragon does come with 2 Forbidden 5 members, an exclusive Storm Cole and Pixel, which is enough to push it above Thunderfang, whose only major highlights are Noct and Dark Aaron for me. The storm suits were pretty forced into the show, so I don't really care much for that line of ninja outfits as something to collect. Our 9th category is value. I've owned all these sets for quite some time now, and considering price, it is a little subjective. Thunderfang to me was always a really good deal, all things considered. Giant buildable characters in Ninjago like Egot, Rontu, and now Ninja Dragon Ryu have had a history of being a bit overpriced, probably because LEGO knows these things are getting more screen time and so they can charge more because of increased demand. But Thunderfang is an amazing exception to that rule, and $70 USD for all this feels pretty great and to me deserves first place. The Arc Dragon of Focus and the Dragon of Life on the other hand are definitely prices that I was okay paying, but I definitely didn't feel great. I think the Dragon of Life retailing for $110 gets second by a hair, since it feels like you get the entire season in a box, from a location to set the story, most of the main villains other than the mutation monster, a villain build that's significant enough to put up a fight against the dragon, and dragon powered ninja, which is basically a slice of everything this wave of Dragons Rising had to offer. Our final category being show significance. This is going to be a winner takes all for 6 whole points. Now this category is a little subjective, which is why I saved it till the end so that you could also pick your favorite dragon and let me know which one won in the comment section down below. Just add 6 points to the dragon on the bottom right that won this category, and there you have it. There you have your winner. Now for which one I think deserves it. On paper, Thunderfang did get the most screen time and some amazing action sequences during part 1 of Dragons Rising. However, how the show handled him in part 2 does ruin his show value a lot. The Focus Dragon definitely didn't get as much screen time, but screen time isn't everything. This dragon was a legend spoken about the whole season, a dragon that fought in the Oni Dragon War, a champion of the Source Dragon of Focus. It had an epic soundtrack that was also incorporated into the show as sort of a lullaby to wake its halves up, and it had an epic showdown at the end. Finally, the Arc Dragon of the Whispering Woods. It seems to be pretty integral to the plot while also having a significant amount of screen time. It has such a presence on screen, erupting out of the dark Whispering Woods semi-camouflage. It also seems to have those special epic power-up moments, a personal connection with the ninja, and something to do with helping them unlock their Draconis forms, crowning this Arc Dragon the best Arc Dragon set we have gotten so far. I can't wait to see where this line goes in the future. So far we've gotten such unique designs that also have this consistent design language that makes them look so good together. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. It really means a lot, and as usual, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.